big Hollywood sunglasses and light the torch, because it's cellar time. Welcome to the Crack Cellar, as the prophecy was once recast as a woke millennial. I'm Two-Spirit Penguin Daniel.
And I'm the Green Ranger, Broadcaster Nickels.
And today we're going to summon a Dragon Zord from a lake using a flute. Right after we talk Bad Batch, Broadcaster Nickels.
Are you making fun of me?
All I'm saying is that the White Ranger's a little bit more on fleek, as the woke millennial might say.
That's the same person. I'm the same person.
Listen, dude, a talking tiger sword is a little bit cooler than your goddamn flute dagger, but...
Men can play flutes!
Bad Batch. Was not expecting this show. Kind of came out of nowhere. I immediately was worried about it when I first heard about it. I'm just thinking this is going to be like the woke washing of animated Star Wars. Not the case so far. We've both seen one episode. What are your general thoughts? Because I was shocked by how not only unwoke it was. Like, there was no like signature woke moment in the first hour and a half long episode, but it also felt almost like a FU to the Kathleen Kennedy version of Star Wars.
I mean, I feel like anything that's good in the Star Wars universe is an FU to Kathleen Kennedy. But I mean, to elaborate on that, it was Dave Filoni. So is that how you say his name? Filoni.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of felt like Rebels and Clone Wars. You know, it had that vibe. The animation I was really impressed with.
Oh God,
it was so good. The animation from that, but I was really, so far in the first episode, it was pretty good.
Well, I'll say Clone Wars, like, the animation improved drastically from season 1 to the final season. Like, originally the animation quality was pretty lame duck. It was hard to get into at first.
It was more kiddie. You could tell they made an asserted effort to try to reach both audiences with the color palette and not making it so... I don't even know what the technical term is, but you know how like they did cell shaded graphics in video games that kind of gives you like that chibi effect.
Yeah,
like it's like the same thing with Clone Wars and Rebels. That type of animation they use, it just always lends to more of a younger audience than an older audience.
Yeah, I feel like they really figured out how to do the perfect version of that style of animation in Bad Batch.
It's definitely in the right direction. I think they could keep improving.
Well,
I mean, never tell someone it's perfect, because then you get things like the Berserk anime.
Too soon.
They hired that guy that he's like, I've never done fucking anime. They're like, don't worry, dude, you're great. You're great. Here's your office. Now get to work.
So, what do you think about Moff Tarkin? Because I love Moff Tarkin. I'm glad he's in it, but the voice actor they picked, I'm just kind of like, I'm not sure, man.
I mean, I didn't think about it too much. I thought it was actually pretty on point.
Really?
Maybe it's
just me. I don't know. There's something that bothered me about his voice acting. Like, it wasn't bad quality. Like, it's not like he's a bad voice actor. It just, there was something about the voice itself that just didn't feel right. It was almost like watching...
the voice of the dead man. Yeah.
It was like watching an alien try to impersonate Moff Tarkin. Or like trying to watch Mark Zuckerberg walk down a sidewalk like a human. You know what I mean? Like, had that quality to it.
That's what we call in the biz a you thing.
Yeah, I'm just happy that Moff Tarkin's in it, and I love the setting. Revenge of the Sith is... I think it's the best prequel movie, but not by as much as most people. I think most people would say it's the best by 80,000 light years, but I have a lot of respect for episode 1, as you know, so I don't quite put it that high, but I still love the setting of Revenge of the Sith. I love Order 66 and like that whole like Game of Thrones style Red Wedding betrayal. And I'm glad that I get to relive it, even if it's an animated version, and to see a sequel to that, to fill the gap between Order 66 and A New Hope. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, well, not only is it like filling in between Clone Wars and A New Hope, but it has like a really, really specific part that is, I think, intriguing for a lot of people. I think that's the secret sauce. Is the fact that they chose like this team of effective clones that shows you like what really took place on a nitty gritty level when Order 66 happened. I think it's pretty cool. You get to go to, I mean, the spoiler, but going to Camino and seeing how the relations just kind of ended up with the Empire and them just in one episode gives me hope that you're going to see a lot of that type of diplomatic stuff play out. Like you're going to see how things settled into what you see in New Hope in more detail.
Yeah.
Because of that patch. And that's not something I didn't particularly see in Rebels or Clone Wars animation. Is it called Clone Wars? Are they both called Clone Wars?
Yeah, it's called the Clone Wars.
Yeah, the Clone Wars. But, you know, those were a little bit more character driven, I should say. But nonetheless, Bad Batch seems to actually be exploring, you know, areas that were kind of grayed out in the fog of war.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty cool. Just what happened in Camino, or not? Sorry, is it Coruscant? No, Camino.
Yeah, Camino.
Yeah, just seeing that in episode 1 gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah, that's kind of what hooked me. Honestly, there's a lot of really good stuff on the horizon based off of what happens in this first episode. And at the top of that list for me is seeing how the Galactic Republic transitions into the Galactic Empire, and how they transition from clone troopers to stormtroopers, because that was always a big question mark for me after I watched the prequels. It's like, well, wait a second. They had a fucking army of clones. Why would they get rid of them and then just recruit John Boyega or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, what happened here? And I think that that's what they're going to explain based off of what we saw with Moff Tarkin challenging the Bad Batch, that training exercise, his strong words towards the Camino people, the alien with the long heads, like the way he talked to them, like, we'll see how good your clones are. Like he had like this predestination to not liking the clones and wanting to get rid of them. I really
so weird, because they literally just had like, I get what they're trying. They need to like find a way to explain that part of the story, because they're going to revisit that general area. But nonetheless, like the fact that they're using Tarkin as some like clone hater, like, and introducing him as a clone hater right after the greatest successful mission they had, Order 66, and eradicating the Jedi, you'd think be like, wow, I really like these clones. They're pretty efficient.
Yeah. I also like how they brought the Imperial probe droid right off the bat. Like, you'd think, that's something they developed way after the Clone Wars. And it's like, nah, that Imperial probe droid was getting R&D'd while Order 66 was happening. Like, that's cool to me.
I didn't even pick up on that. Is that so far the furthest back we've seen an Imperial probe droid?
I think that's the debut of Empire tech, period. Like, that's the first true piece of Empire only tech we've seen that deep into the storyline, like that far back.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that we're going to see AT-ATs soon, AT-STs. Like, I think that we're just going to see like this proliferation of all the cool stuff from the original trilogy, and it's going to just make this complete circle. Like, there's this little piece that's always been missing between the prequels and the original trilogy. And I feel like Dave Filoni's like, well, we're doing this. We're going to fill that sandwich in with some juicy roast beef.
I will say one thing that I got to give him a lot of respect for is the very beginning when Order 66 happens. They do not like try to change it. at all. If you go back and you watch the original moment, all the Jedis, like, they all had like this really short, like, oh fuck, I've been betrayed moment, and like they all get gunned down. It's exactly what happens in the show. Like, you'd think, to the brief moments in the show prior to Order 66 happening, you think, oh, okay, they're gonna do like this Padawan and Master slow burn thing. Maybe Order 66 is going to happen here like at the end of the episode, once they have like this character building between the two. Nah, it was like, here's Master, here's Padawan. All right, go with them. Oh shit, I sense a disturbance in the floor. I'm betrayed. Like, wow, that happened quick.
Yeah, it was really cool. It grabbed me right off the bat. I really went into this show with a lot of skepticism. I was really expecting for this to be a dud. And for them to just start out on Order 66 like that, and just like the savage betrayal. The only thing that I kind of agree with, what's the marksman, the sniper, who, spoiler alert,
Sarah,
and ends up betraying the rest of the Bad Batch. What's his name? Crosshair. I agree with Crosshair. Like, the Hunter letting that baby Jedi go, didn't really like that. I mean, I understand that they're trying to set these guys up as like the moral clones, and like they're the good guy clones, and all this stuff. I get all that. I think it would have been better if he killed the baby Jedi, but then like had this real big moral incident afterwards, like just regretted it like so much, and then that made him go good guy. I felt just disobeying the orders like that without any knowledge or context, and just letting him go like that felt a little weird to me.
Disney can't have that. Disney can't have somebody that kills a Jedi and then becomes a good person. They can't have that type of redemption arc.
Yeah. Well, can't all be perfect, but I really like the music too. Did you notice how good the music was?
I didn't really pay attention to it too much.
It was solid. It very Star Wars like. I wonder who's doing the music now. There's no way it's still John Williams, right?
Pretty sure he passed, didn't he?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you're not dead, Williams. John Williams, American composer. This motherfucker is alive.
Yeah.
89 years old. God damn.
So if you want to say there is one woke aspect to the show, it would be Omega, who is like the baby female clone who's a part of the Bad Batch, but not really a part of it, but like she is one of those Bad Batch clones that are different. What do you think about her? What do you think about the entire arc that brings her with them to escape in the end? Like, clearly she's going to be a member of the team moving forward. She's the Wesley Crusher of Bad Batch. What do you think overall about her and her overall storyline?
Well, at first I thought she was creepy, and then towards the end, I'm guessing, might be looking into it too much, but there was like one part in the show where, what do you call the Camino aliens? The Caminoans?
I don't know.
Yeah, so the Caminoans, the two head ones, the female one that was always looking after Omega, and then the male one that seemed to be like in charge of the cloning facility. When they were in a room, like towards like 3/4 of the episode, they addressed each other as master and apprentice, which like, and they really focused on it for a second. They hung on it. And then like they had like the slow like walk out of the room moment. And I was like, that was really odd that they focused on that, because master and apprentice, that's kind of invokes like some Jedi order type stuff. And then they kind of slowly roll out the fact that Omega's force sensitive, even though she's a defective clone.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm starting to think that those two Kaminoans are actually Jedis. And they actually made some type of force sensitive clone. They successfully made a force clone.
Oh, dude. Well, that would be crazy, because if you could actually engineer force sensitive people, that would probably be the number one technology that exists in the Star Wars universe. So it would be really crazy for that to happen, and then for it not to proliferate in not only the original trilogy, but the sequel trilogy and everything post where we're at.
Kamino gets destroyed.
I'm guessing it does, but we don't know how that happens yet. But you would think that tech would be pilfered and used by the Empire, the First Order, like all these bad guys. Like, why wouldn't they want to create an army of Force sensitive that they can brainwash into Sith and just like have an army of Sith? You think they'd want that?
Yeah, because if Kamino's never ever been seen after, like, outside of its general timeline in the Star Wars universe, it was introduced.
Well, Broadcaster Nickels, before we move on to our preview of Stranger Things Season 4, I have one final question for you about Bad Batch. How do you think Season 1 of Bad Batch is going to end? I want you to guess what the big event of the finale is going to be. Is it going to be the destruction of Kamino? Is it going to be the massacre of all the clones? What do you think is going to be the big thing that happens at the end of this first season?
At the end of this season, that's really hard to tell, because I have no idea where the fucking series is really going to go. I mean, are they going to focus? I'm guessing they're going to round back to Caleb. I'm sure he's going to show up again, and he's going to play some importance. I imagine, God, who'd be the main baddie in this? Because they haven't had to. I mean, I guess Crosshair has been established as kind of like, he's rather going to be the mid-season villain death, or he's going to play into being the main baddie for the season. So I imagine maybe it's like Hunter, Caleb team up to take on Crosshair, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. I just don't know enough yet, because the team just got introduced. So far, it's just they are betraying the Empire. They lost a teammate to programming. They got a clone girl from Kamino, who we think is force sensitive.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all. It's really no one. I mean, there's Moff Tarkin, but we all know. I mean, maybe the season's going to focus around the idea of how they get to human stormtroopers. Maybe that will be the season finale, is introducing like dumbass stormtroopers and they're backfiring on them. I don't know.
The ones with like a 1% hit rate on their rifle blasts. Yeah.
I don't think they've really introduced, like, clearly yet the main plot of the show yet. I think Omega's definitely at the center of it. Caleb and Omega are probably going to be both at the center of it, to be honest.
So Caleb, is that the baby Jedi that they let get away?
Like you said, baby Jedi. Okay. Adolescent Padawan.
Yeah, I couldn't even remember his name because he's only in the first part of it briefly, but yeah. I think that's pretty astute. It's a pretty conservative guess, I'd say. That's painting by the numbers. I have a left field hitter though. I'm pointing for the stands like Babe Ruth style right now with this prediction. I think season 1 ends with the introduction of Baby Yoda. I think they are going to tie this is Dave Filoni. Remember, this is Dave Filoni. He made Baby Yoda. We have no fucking idea where Baby Yoda came from. He just like appeared into the universe. I think that they are going, because with the lifespan of Baby Yoda, what do they say, Mandalorian? He is 58 years old. Is that what they said? Something like in his mid 50s, I believe. That puts him smack dab as a very young 10-year-old to 5-year-old Yoda during this timeline. He's alive. right now as a very, very little Yoda. I think that he's going to show up, and that part of the show, I don't think the whole point of the show is to set up Baby Yoda, but I think that they are going to sprinkle in this side story with Baby Yoda, introduce him in this, and explain to us how he went into the hands of our favorite German Imperial operative from Mando season 1.
It's a hot take.
That being said, Broadcaster Nickels, are you ready to get to our preview of Stranger Things season 4?
Yes.
What's that? You want more Crack Cellar? This is good. Join your lords on Twitter at The Crack Cellar and Facebook.com/The Crack Cellar.
Hey, you over there. Are you a straight-up Chad or a strong woman? Well, you can find us on Apple Podcasts and your favorite podcasting app. Or, if you're a straight-up beta cuck, find us on YouTube with the rest of the Cloud Chasers. And we're back with our preview of Season 4 of Stranger Things. Broadcaster Nickels, the kids are basically in college at this point, right? Like, they're at fucking Vanderbilt, you know, fucking the volleyball
Adult
team.
Swim, kids out of the pool.
So, what are we dealing with here? Like, I never expected this show to go beyond one season. When it got a second season, I was like, well, like, okay. And get a third season, I'm like, really? And now we're at fourth season, I'm just like, this show just feels like it was based on the fact that these kids were kids. And them becoming adults, do you think that this show can transition to them being adults and keep going? Or do you think the writing's on the wall and we're about off this ride here soon?
I mean, nothing that makes money truly ever dies until it stops making money. So, I mean, I'm sure they're probably this will probably be the last or second to last like core season, and I'm sure there's going to be maybe some spin-offs, maybe, or they might be smart about it and realize that this is going to be the last season they can legitimately pull off. And just based on some of the footage I'm seeing, I saw a shaved head, pretty young look. When they show Eleven's eyes, looks like a pretty young Emily Brown. Is Amelia Brown? Emily Brown? I forgot.
I think it's like Bobby Millie Brown. That's a weird name.
But she looks pretty young. So I'm guessing they're using old cut footage from the original season and like making some type of something happen where they can like emulate that the past essentially and what they're trying to do. But that's the first thing I noticed, that looked pretty young for her in her current age. So they probably are just getting away with this season using that footage, and maybe they're going to tie everything up and then maybe, you know, try to do some Stephen King's It shit, you know, like, you know, wait a good 5-10 years, let all of them grow up and then do some. That would be cool, but I really can't see them stretch this out. They're going to ruin the IP with whatever they got concocted up in their head. So, yeah, I don't see it.
It would be unprecedented, I think. I don't believe there's ever been a show that started out with a cast of child actors as the main characters that actually transitioned into them being adults and continued going with them still being the main cast, the main characters. I don't think that's ever happened. Can you think of any example of that?
No. I mean, how old are they going to be? How old is Brown now?
Well, let's say season 1, they had to have been like 12, right? At the most. Like they looked 11 or 10, but maybe they were 12.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at these kids in other movies and on like late night talk shows, they literally look college age. They look old. So I don't know exactly how old they are, but they're old enough. Like they are transitioning way out of how they started in this show.
So Bobby Brown's 17 right now. Let's
That
just
sounds about right.
Let's just assume she's the oldest, right?
Yeah, right. She's probably the
Her
youngest.
birthday's February, right? So she's already almost halfway to her next birthday. The filming, the way these seasons work, I mean, the season was probably finished close to her birthday, this year. I'm assuming if they had like a decent schedule. So, I mean, the idea of doing another season after this one would mean she's 18, and I would just assume everyone else is 18 or 17 with her. Maybe she's the youngest. That would be even crazier, right? Think about it. Like, it's just not doable on a cast perspective, like, to continue this.
It doesn't.
What's the storyline anyways? They're going to turn into Ghostbusters, always saving the town from fucking the upside down? Like, what's going on here?
Funny you mentioned that, Broadcaster Nickels, because yes.
I mean, there's only so many government conspiracies the town can survive until it gets nuked and everyone gets fucking Men in Black,
Yeah. I mean, I really like the idea of them ending it this season with a very final ending that is well written and well planned, with the idea that they've talked to all the main cast and said, hey, we're going to do an It thing here. We're going to come back and we're going to do another version of the show in about 15 years, when you guys are all knocking on 35. That would be fucking cool. It would take a lot of foresight and planning and some really strong handshakes, but it would be really cool if they could pull it off.
To be honest, none of the casts of Stranger Things really look like they can pull off a firm handshake besides maybe
Sheriff
Ryder. I know. Well, actually, what am I saying? I know Ryder got a firm handshake.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing they could do if they wanted to keep going, is they could just make Hopper the main character, which it kind of feels like they're already trying to do based off that teaser being all about him. That first teaser kind of makes it a little,
because the last season ended with his death,
right? But well, that's debatable, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, I mean, if you're watching the season ending, not in hindsight, I'm just saying, like, you think he's dead, and then you kind of get an Easter egg, maybe he's not, and then that teaser comes out later, and everyone's like, he is alive.
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, I'm not convinced of that. I think that there's still a chance that he is dead, and that this is some high-level trolling and / really good writing to where they can do something with him, but he's still dead. You know what I mean?
I don't think he's dead. I think I think if I remember correctly, they're at the end credits of the last season, they call out one of those demi gorgons or whatever out of the cage, and they use the sheriff's name to call him out, and he answers to it, which makes everyone think he got turned into one of those in the upside down world. And then that teaser came out and showed him in human form working on some fucking Russian railroad in the middle of so
yeah,
who knows?
Definitely an open question on him. They could do it in a very corny way. They could do it in a very boring way. There's some ways to do it right, though. There's some interesting ways to turn about here, but we'll see, man. I feel like Stranger Things every season gets a little worse. The first season was super strong. I loved season 1 of Stranger Things. Not a huge fan of season 2. Season 3, I watched almost out of respect. I really thought season 3 was pretty lame for the most part.
It was.
I'm hoping season 4 bounces back a little bit. And one of the reasons I think it might is because of the newer teaser trailer with 11 and apparently her backstory. Maybe it is old footage with her. Maybe they deep faked her, Moff Tarkin style. I don't know. But
I mean, she is still pretty young looking.
yeah, it'd be easy to deep fake a younger version of her face on her current body and it look totally natural because she's still so young. But
yeah.
Man, what do you think about that second teaser and like the direction? Because it felt like the season was slowly, or the show was slowly pivoting away from horror and towards sci-fi. And then now with this new trailer, this new teaser, I feel like they're trying to pivot back to horror a little bit based off of that second teaser. What do you think?
I mean, are you just talking about like the creepiness factor from like the children and fucking them all calling that dude Papa?
Yeah, that was definitely one of the creepiest things that's ever happened in the show.
But I mean, that was pretty creepy.
It was, but not only that, but like the fact that they show like all these kids like doing all these things in their little research bay that kind of reminded me of Legion a little bit, season 1 of Legion.
It's funny you say that. As soon as I saw the rainbow on the ground and the kids like crawling the arc with their race cars on the different lanes of the rainbow, I was like, man, that oddly reminds me of Legion for some reason.
Yeah, but also when they show that like kaleidoscope of security cameras and they show all the rooms that those kids were in, but with like blood splats everywhere, like a massacre happened. That was pretty dark. The way that they sort of just said, oh yeah, it's just a, hey Papa. And then, a few seconds later, you're just seeing blood everywhere. What do you think about that? Like, are we going in a horror direction now? Are we going to kind of get away from like the teleportation and all like the sci-fi crap that sort of proliferated in seasons 2 and 3? Or you think we're going back to the special sauce?
I could believe it. I mean, it's hard to tell just based on what we saw. Personally, I'd like to. But that being said, it is the 4th season. And just based on, the way these type of mediums play out, that would make sense that they're going back to the aesthetics and the feel of season 1. Because if this is the last or second to last season, that's typically how it goes down. They try to emulate what they originally did, try to get nostalgia injected back into the show to see if they can rejuvenate it anyway, and then they use the data on that, see how far they can go.
Yeah.
But that makes sense. I mean, it lines up. I mean, it would be a good guesstimation. But right now, I just don't think.
Yeah, there's not a lot of info out there, and these teasers could be total misdirects.
Yeah, true.
Like, right now, if you were to just judge it off the teasers, you would think that season 4 is going to have 2 storylines. There's going to be a sort of in the past storyline happening with Eleven at her facility with good old Dr. Brenner. And then we're going to have another storyline in Russia with everyone's least favorite sheriff. So I don't actually think that's going to be the case. I'm pretty sure that the other characters in the current time and the current city are all going to be a part of the show. But why go in such a weird direction with your first 2 teasers?
Maybe Winona was on another bender. So I couldn't use her.
She was shoplifting and the police got her and she's like, you're right, I stole all these purses, here you go. She's like, and then the police officer's like, no, when you stole these you weren't wearing a mask. 90 years in prison, clink. Broadcaster Nickels, there is one interesting tidbit of information that I did find about season 4, and it ties into my favorite comic book, The X-Men. The first episode of season 4, the title of it has been released. No actual information on it, just the title. The title is The Hellfire Club. And I know you know what that is. What do you think that means? Do you think that this is just a
Better means some
coincidence?
high class fucking baller fucking dinner parties.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. Like do you think that this is like a legit reference to X-Men? Do you think that this
Definitely.
you do. Do you think that this is an actual tie-in to X-Men, like a non-official, obviously, tie-in? Like they're actually going to incorporate elements of the Phoenix Saga in this season?
You know, I like this Matrix 4 energy that you got going on right here, but I'm gonna probably say no.
Okay.
It's probably just a shot. I'm sure there's probably like the way Stranger Things is like they're famous because they're all about it's a nostalgic show, you know. So the title already tells me that they're not stopping with that trope, and they're probably who knows. One of them's gonna be reading a comic in the very first episode. It's gonna be the debut of the Hellfire Club. It's gonna say it right there on the comic, you know, introducing the Hellfire Club. It's always something small and loosely connected like that. It's never an actual strong theme of an episode.
Yeah. No one wants Papa Mouse's fucking lawyers knocking at their door either. So if they did tie it in, you know, they'd be real loose about it. You know,
well, they got the papers and paid up.
Yeah, there'd definitely be purple mohawks and wheelchairs for sure. But
man, have you ever seen those Mickey Mouse gas masks they made?
Oh my god, yes.
For emergency shelter. Oh my god. Just imagine a Gestapo ass motherfucker wearing one of those asking you for your papers.
Well, 2040 is just 19 years away, and I have a feeling we'll be seeing that by then. One other thing I want to mention about the whole 11 laboratory experiment teaser. That chess set that those kids were playing with, was that not the most badass chess set you've ever seen? Do you think they custom made that for the show, or do you think that's something you can just buy?
They probably custom made it for the show.
I want that chess set, man. I watched that teaser like 3 times, and the takeaway all 3 times was, I want that fucking chess set, man.
Pretty sure it's pretty easy to custom build a chess set.
You'd think so.
No, I'm pretty sure like there's services out there.
I want the chess set from that teaser trailer.
You give them the design for your chess pieces, and they'll cut them out on a bandsaw or whatever. Polish them up.
Set. It's a good idea. Put that on
Plus, there's also chess companies that have like 50,000 variants of chess.
Yeah. So, my last thought really on all this is 11. And the way that teaser ended with the security cam footage of like the massacre happening in all those rooms. Do you think it's possible that 11 actually killed all those people?
Yes. I hope so. It would improve her character.
There was always something weird about her escape from the facility by herself. I know that they show there's like another one of her psychic friends that shows up in season 2 that whole thing felt really weird and tacked on, by the way. I don't know if you remember that or not.
I didn't know.
It was brief and weird and didn't really tie in any meaningful way. I think she was number 8, I believe.
Oh yeah.
And so they show one, but what I want to say here is that I noticed that all of the kids they did show in that teaser were not her. They were not, I think, number 8. She was not one of the people in this teaser.
Well, they all had shaved heads.
So them all being dead, it makes me think that when Millie escaped, she escaped with blood on her hands. And they're going to show us that. I think that's what that is. I think it's basically showing us what led to her escape and that she isn't quite the good guy that we all think that she is. At least that's what I'm hoping.
I feel like number 8 would have called her out on that.
Number 8 might not have been there. like I said, I didn't see number 8 there in the teaser at all. In fact, now, I don't know for sure I have the number right, but if I do have the number right, they did not, you know how they showed the doors for all their rooms and it showed the number on the door?
Just showed 11's door.
No, they showed a bunch of them, not just 11's. They showed 11, 10, 9, and I think 8 got skipped and they showed 7 and 6, I believe.
I feel like they just were zooming up on 11's door. They didn't actually show any other doors.
Oh, they did, for sure. I definitely saw other numbers.
Huh.
But, yeah, this is a crackpot theory, sure. I just, I have a feeling that 11 murdered all these kids. And we're about to see some real dark shit.
I got a feeling, that it's about to get dark. And I like it. Place your bets, folks. Is Mia a murdering bitch? Or is that who's that fuckboy that died in season 3?
Oh god.
Billy, my boy. Billy comes back.
Yeah, god. Season 3 was so bad. I just hope that we can get close to season 1. I don't believe that we are ever going to get another season of the show that's as good as the first season, but
season 3 made me at least want the 80s to come back. That's what it made.
Yeah, the nostalgia factor was good. The writing and the plot was not.
I was like, dude, look at all these people that actually want to go to a public pool.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh, God. Well, that being said, Broadcaster Nickels, unfortunately, we cannot go back to saner times, but what we can do is review a movie that's based on a game from saner times when Tipper Gore was on the forefront of cancel culture. Of course, I'm talking about Mortal Kombat. Broadcaster Nickels, are you ready to get to our review?
Happy birthing day.
Hello, birthing person. It is 7 weeks until you birth a non-gendered entity.
I'm gonna birth this shit. I'm gonna say that every time I hear that shit now. Yeah, I birth a baby brown boy every morning. All right. So.
Did you just assume my birthing status? And we're back with our review of Simon McCoy's Mortal Kombat. And the creator of this movie describes it as the following. MMA fighter Cole Young seeks out Earth's greatest champions in order to stand against the enemies of Outworld in a high-stakes battle for the universe. Broadcaster Nickels, where have I heard that before?
Nowhere, because that guy is made up in a made up bullshit thing.
Oh, man. Yeah. For a good portion of that movie, I was not sure if he was supposed to be a Johnny Cage replacement. I was thinking, because like he's similar enough to Johnny Cage with his background, with like the fight. Like, I was just like, man, is this them like just erasing Johnny Cage and introducing this guy to take over? Cole Young. It even sounds like a Johnny Cage kind of name. Cole Young.
Here's the hot take. I thought that he was going to be Stryker.
Broadcaster Nickels, you just broke the 7th wall of hot takes.
But then I was like, being the cop hero isn't exactly hot right now.
No,
so.
No, it's a shame too. When I figured out Cabal
he had
was going to be in
weapons,
this,
though. He had
kind of.
Weapons.
Kind of. I mean,
yeah, kind of.
It was more like Talam's weapons from Soul Calibur, but yeah, I get your meaning. They're like the bladed version of a police baton.
I'm hoping he gets Johnny Caged.
Oh god,
like in MK Annihilation, dude. in the second movie. I hope it opens up with fucking Cole just getting fucking his fucking KO'd.
Me too. For me, he was the dud of the movie, and he's like the main character, so that's kind of disappointing. But he just, I don't know, man. He felt really just bland. Like his power was bland. Like,
obviously the character was poorly written for the IP in the universe.
Yeah.
But the actor too. The actor
Wooden.
like he reminds me of like he's wooden, but he's like just one of those actors you find in like teen dramas.
Yep.
And weird shit like that. Like his responses and I'm gonna save him a little bit of humiliation. He wasn't the only one. I'd say 90% of the actors in this show suck dick.
Wow, 90%? Damn, dude, I would have put it like 40 or 50%. That's a steaming hot take.
It was pretty bad.
So wait a second. So 90%, that means that there's only a couple characters in the show that you think were acted well. So who are they?
Kano, Cabal.
Cabal was just voice acted, though. You can't really count Cabal.
Well, I mean,
the voice acting was the fucking shit, though. I do agree with you there.
I mean, I guess his voice. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's not real acting, is what I'm saying. Like, it's a different kind of acting, and all the credit in the world to the Cabal voice actor because he was the shit. But yeah, it's not real acting. Like Kano, that was real acting.
Yeah.
So who else other than Kano?
I guess the guy that played Raiden was
Wow. Raiden's on my shit list. That's crazy. Interesting.
The guy that played Liu Kang. It got a prepubescent boy that was shredded. I'm not gonna lie. When that dude fucking did his like flex pose, I was fucking surprised. I was like, that little monkey can fight. But like seriously. Oh, the guy that got to play Kung Lao is pretty cool. But it was acting over the top and it was pretty cheesy.
Okay, it's Mortal Kombat. It's supposed to be over the top.
I know, but over the top in a bad way. Like, not over the top and like punch a guy's heart out and fucking be like, finish him over the top. More like, God, that guy delivered that line in a very bad, over the top way. Shang Tsung was probably the worst for me.
Yes.
That guy fucking... Every line he did was stiff and like just like he didn't want to be there.
No.
And he also acted like he had no chemistry with any of the characters that he got on his side. Like when like this movie, spoiler alert, is like not an actual MK tournament. It's like a little brawl before an MK tournament happens. And supposedly all these people he's bringing in are people he knows and stuff like that. And I don't know, just like the chemistry says otherwise. Maybe it's just the sheer lack of dialogue between all the villains. That might just be it, to be honest. I mean, for one, Natara, she didn't even have a fucking line.
Nope.
She was sick, though.
I liked her. Her portrayal of the character was good.
It was I like the video game character more with the eye patch. It was doper.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, where is that?
You could tell that they didn't want to cover up a pretty face, and I don't blame her. That girl was pretty hot, but
yes,
nonetheless, like the fact that Natara didn't have a fucking line is concerning to me. It's like pin the tail on the donkey. Which one do you want? Was it rather she was a bad actor? They had budget constraints, or she was such a terrible actor they cut every one of her scenes that had dialogue in it. But that one doesn't really make too much sense. That last one doesn't make too much sense because pretty much all the villains barely had any dialogue besides Kano and Cabal together. Well, think about it. General Raiko or whatever, no dialogue really. Natara, no dialogue. Shang Tsung, What?
Yeah, the most.
3 scenes?
Him and Raiden had a few like moments together, but yeah,
I'm
like
just saying, like, Cole took up at least 40% of the dialogue in this show, if not more.
and that was a waste.
And he's a nobody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seemed like a dumb move to me.
Well, I agree with you on everything you just said, literally, other than the percentage. Like you said, 90%. I'm more 50-50. I think there were some really hard hitters in this, and there were a few hard misses, like just fucking whiffs.
Who are your hard hitters? I want to hear the hard hitters.
Well, obviously, I'm just going to start off by saying Cabal. He's my favorite character in Mortal Kombat. I was predestined to love him, even if he was just an okay portrayal in this movie. They fucking did so much justice to him in this fucking movie that I don't give a fuck about any of its. I'm going to say right now, I don't care about any of his shortcomings because of how they treated Cabal. The way they treated Cabal is how I have been praying that someday Disney would treat Gambit.
But he got ghosted before an MK tournament even started.
I don't care. They made him into a fucking badass in every single way. His voice actor, as you mentioned, was one of the best actors in the movie, even though he was just a voice actor. He was, all of his lines were gold. Like when Liu Kang catches him in his fatality and he's just like, what the fuck? Like that line, the way he delivered that line was so good. That was just trash. He just threw on the street. Like, here's some trash acting. I'm just throwing out. Here, you can have this shit. It was so good. Like that whole Cabal arc was great. I'm not going to include him in this though because he was voice acted. I'm going to say
I fucking died when he was just like, "You shut the fuck up over there, clutching your ass beats."
Oh died. My God. Dude. Yeah, I'll get back to more Cabal, but for now, I'll just answer your question. I think that Kano, Jax, and Scorpion are the hardest hitters for actual acting. And I think the worst ones, and it's one of the ones you said that is also yours, but one that you actually liked as well, Shang Tsung and Raiden. I thought the casting for Raiden was a joke. Now, of course, it
was a joke for both of them. We all know the right choices.
Christopher Lambert is fucking Raiden, okay?
Yeah, he is Raiden. He's alive. Check. Okay. And then Shang Tsung, I forget the guy's name, to be honest. Is it Watanabe or Watanabe? What's that guy's name?
No, his name is Cary Tagawa. You're talking about the original Shang Tsung from the original movie, right?
Yeah, Cary Tagawa. Yep. Those two motherfuckers are MIA in this movie, and it just breaks my fucking heart. And I know it breaks everyone's heart because they're both around, and you're gonna have to try really fucking hard to convince us that they didn't want to show up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Well, Tagawa would have. He's doing Mortal Kombat 11. Like, if he's doing a video game, he's definitely down to go back for a movie.
That's so true.
And here's the thing that kills me about Raiden was just a joke, whatever, but it was like a mediocre joke. Like, he's like, okay, whatever, just moving on. Shang Tsung rubbed a little bit more salt in because of how bad Shang Tsung was and how central he is to the movie as the main villain.
Yeah.
Now think about this. You could have brought Cary Tagawa in, and you could have had him portray the ancient warlock version of Shang Tsung from the original Mortal Kombat game. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the lich-looking motherfucker that floated.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what I'm holding out for, is that they're gonna run with, if they can manage it somehow, which I'm really hoping they can, they're gonna write it off as like the guy that we saw in this first movie is a young version that has tons of souls in him, and he's gonna get robbed of all of his souls like he does in the video games, and he's gonna become like what you just said, the old version. And I'm hoping they get Terry to, or is it Carrie or Terry?
Carrie.
I hope they get Carrie to reprise the old version of Shang Tsung, because that'd be dope.
He's the perfect age now. Like, he's literally like in his late 60s. That's exactly what you'd want for an actor to portray that ancient warlock version of Shang Tsung. It just fits like a glove, man. Like, the whole premise of it fits like a glove. It's such a missed opportunity in my mind.
There's a few missed opportunities, though.
You mean Liu Kang being like a fucking girl? Liu Kang looks like...
just Kung Lao and Liu Kang. Like, both of them being like these little feuding brothers, like guarding the temple and then just kind of getting written off. Like, literally one of them just dies right off the bat after doing a dope fatality to another character that didn't say a word.
Shout out to the fatalities in this movie. When they do these fatalities, they are picture perfect. And the Kung Lao one you just referenced is case one. That was picture perfect for the real fatality from the game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I would argue it's probably the best fatality in the movie, but it's probably top two. It's probably it's pretty fucking good.
Well, do you want to let's do that right now? Number one fatality, because there are like 7 different fatalities in this movie. This movie did a lot of fatalities. Thin on plot, heavy on fatalities. Broadcaster Nickels, what is your favorite fatality from this movie?
So Jax did the clap to Raiko.
Mm-hmm.
Cole did he tear Goro's heart out? Is that what he did? What did he do? Tore his arm off and beat him with it?
I don't think so.
What did he do to Goro? I know he tore an arm off. I know an arm got torn off.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to count Cole Young in this conversation because we don't even know what a fatality for him is.
I'm trying to think. And then Sonya punched a hole through
Melina, right?
Melina, yeah. That was pretty dope. Shows the spine, but again, it was pretty simple.
Mm-hmm. Kano starts it off. He has the first fatality of the movie, I believe.
Oh, yeah. He rips the motherfuckers, the alien spine, or the monster's spine out.
I was sad he didn't take a bite out of it and raise it into the air, though. I was really like, as soon as he did, I'm like, please, do it.
And then, what was Scorpion versus Sub-Zero? What did he do to Scorpion again? Or, sorry, what did he do to Sub-Zero? Oh, yeah, he took his mask off and gave him the fire. That's what it was. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think it's Kung Lao.
Yeah.
Kung Lao is it's like, I mean, all of them were cool. Don't get me wrong. But technique, I mean, Kung Lao laid it down.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, that's the way his wind's blowing. All right, teleport. Bow.
Yeah. That's probably my number one regret of this movie is that Cabal never got to do a fatality. I was real because the respect they gave to his moves in this movie was so high that if they did do one of his fatalities, it probably would have just been God tier. But unfortunately, they did not. I was really hoping they'd do the scary face fatality. You know what I'm talking about? Where he takes his mask off.
Who?
Cabal.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about he shows his burned face with his or his bulging eyeballs.
That fatality always cracked me up. But actually, my favorite fatality, Kung Lao, is number 2 for me. It's a very close second. But I actually am going to pick the one that took Cabal down.
Oh, Liu
Kang's fire dragon.
Yeah.
That was picture. First of all, the setup where it does the quicksand on him to catch him down so he can't escape. Where he goes,
quicksand.
What the fuck? And then the fucking dragon just comes up over him and just eats it. That was, A, it was picture perfect to the game, just like Kung Lao's. B, it took Cabal down. They made it so Cabal went down to the fucking, not the main character of this movie, but the main character of Mortal Kombat, Liu Kang. Respect again, so we got double respect there. And they gave him like one of his best lines during his fatality. And they gave him just like the most high budget CG crazy version of all the fatalities that exist in this movie. Cabal got shown respect in this goddamn movie. I cannot say that enough.
Yeah, there's also a chance he's not dead. I mean, he's already a burn victim.
From your lips to God's ears, Broadcaster Nickels.
I mean, you're gonna a burn victim already. I mean, it's all on the nose, you know. Like something tells me they're gonna he's gonna survive. He's just like, you kidding me? You think you can kill me by burning me?
I am the fire. Oh shit. Yeah. What do you think about the CG Goro? Because
I didn't like it.
You didn't. Okay.
Well, I didn't hate the CGI. I just hated that they cucked Goro for one.
Making him lose to Cole Young is kind of like see, yeah, we're talking about respect. Cabal got respected. Goro got disrespected in this movie.
Yeah. Honestly, and it's a missed opportunity because they should have saved Goro. Because who are they going to bring in now? Kintaro?
You need to bring Kintaro into this shit.
But anyways, they had a fucking Johnny Cage Goro rematch on their hands.
Oh, man.
And they threw half the equation away.
Another big missed opportunity. I didn't even think about that. But you're right. The Johnny Cage Goro rematch is gone now.
Those were $500 glasses, asshole.
Oh, shit. I'll tell you right now, I deeply prefer the original 1995 version of Goro. But I thought the CG Goro was surprisingly good. For a full CG effect, I thought that it looked pretty natural. It didn't go too far into the uncanny valley. And I thought that the model they used for him was very close to the original Goro. Close enough to where I was like, this is it. This is Goro. Like, sometimes when they do these CG versions of characters, you're like, that's not my Goro. That's not my insert name here. That's not how I felt with this one. I looked at him like, yeah, it's fucking Goro. Like, I thought it was pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, all of the characters' looks were pretty on point, if not updated a little bit in a positive way. Like Cabal, for instance. He looked dope. Yeah. He had this more slick, black, modern look going with him. And more his purple energy that makes him go fast was more pronounced. That was just cool.
Oh god!
I just thought it was a cool take on Cabal, no doubt. But you know who I really was disappointed in, as far as Arcana goes, which I'll tell you right now, I was really disappointed. It's just a base concept in the movie. They should have. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they have Cole in there, and I don't know why they did that. It was two unnecessary things that muddy the water up too much, and now they're going to have to ride around those things in the future if they want to have a successful continuation or universe or whatever you want to call it. But Jax's arms were pretty weak to me. Like the way he got them, it was like they halfway through the movie, the writers couldn't decide how he was really going to get his arms because. First, he loses them in the movie from Sub-Zero.
And that part I liked. Yeah, that scene was sick.
Yeah, it was dope. But then he gets recovered by the monks. It's some undisclosed part of the timeline that's not in the movie. And you see him on a medical bed, randomly when the rest of the characters find the temple later on in the movie. And these monks that live out in the middle of nowhere guarding a temple.
They drink mead.
Yeah, they drink jungle juice and shit, dude, and then pray half the day. Fucking fast, do all that crazy shit.
They're boys with Tony Stark. That's all.
Yeah, apparently they're fucking. These guys are Tony Starks, and they're fucking building this boy new. Scrawny. This is the weird part, right?
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
This is like the second layer of this. Even so, it's weird that these monks are even have the technology and the skills to build this man some new arms. But then on top of that, they make them very unproportionate. Let's say to Jack, the guy that plays Jax, or let's just say the stature of the character Jax, and later on, he then gets these arms imbued?
They randomly blossom. It was the weirdest shit. I still don't get it. Like, to this moment, I don't understand what happened with Jax's arms. They were little robotic skeleton arms, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then one moment, they just oh, now they're back to big giant Jack's arms. Like, what the fuck?
And so it's like, all right, so you guys literally wrote into the story him to get small arms on purpose because you knew his Arcana was going to give him big arms, which just makes me ask the question, what would have happened if he didn't lose his arms? You know? And that's the problem with Jax's character going forward. Because you know,
yeah, the whole Arcana thing. I think the best thing about the Arcana thing is Jax's line to Cole Young in the car, and we commented on this in the preview too. I remember I had brought up like, I'm loving Jax in this preview because of that line that we saw in the trailer, where he's just like, what does he say? He says something about like, oh, I have this birthmark or something. He's like, it ain't no fucking birthmark. Like, he says something like that. I wish it was a birthmark. I wish it wasn't Arcana, but I think that one line that Jack says in the car to him is probably the only good thing that came out of that Arcana. Everything else was just net negative on the movie.
Well, the symbol, I mean, while the symbol's a little hokey, I wouldn't have minded too much if it wasn't tied to Arcana. Mm-hmm. You know? Like, if it was just a symbol of the chosen ones to go to the tournament every generation or whatever, I would have totally been okay with that. I'm like, that's kind of a cool Hollywood take on why these characters are chosen, you know? But the fact that they had to do that and then for unnecessary reasons explain the character's powers, right? Because it's like, guys, this is Mortal Kombat. You didn't explain why the Netherworld or any of those other fucking realms exist. You didn't explain why Shang Tsung takes so many souls. You didn't explain fucking why Sub-Zero's the only ice ninja in the fucking Lin Kuei clan, you know? Like, why do you need... You get what I'm saying? Like, It's just, why are you leaning on that so much in needing to add and make it extra? Like, sure, they're characters that have powers. Some of them may be explained a little bit more than others, but do you really need to make up a whole new concept to a well-established IP?
Well, it's the same with Cole Young, right? Like, it's the same idea. Like, you introduce this new thing that is unnecessary, and it's kind of like, why? Why didn't you just make Johnny Cage the main character and just replace that character with Johnny Cage?
Yeah.
Like, that would have made the movie a lot better. Like,
I honestly
we would have had our rematch in this movie.
Yep. I honestly thought that's what was going to happen. When I heard Cole Young, because I didn't read anything on Mortal Kombat, I just went in there blind with Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly thought seeing Cole Young, I was like, man, this guy's going to go up Goro in the first match and just get it, isn't he? I'm hoping he just gets KO'd. But it didn't happen.
Nope. Unfortunately not.
It would have been super meta, too. First match against Goro, just fucking end.
So we have one woke world update for this movie. Not a very woke movie in general, but there's one thing. Can you think of what it is?
A sequel's been established.
It's Melina.
She wasn't black enough? Lesbian enough?
What'd you think about Melina in this movie, dude? Honestly, what'd you think about Melina in this movie?
I was oddly attracted to her.
What'd you think about their portrayal of Melina looking like Joker from The Dark Knight? Like, what are your honest thoughts on that, Broadcaster Nickels?
Joker from The Dark Knight? I don't agree.
Really?
I wouldn't say. Are you just talking about because her jaws like open up or whatever?
No, I'm talking about how Melina's face looked for the entire movie till the very end. Because at the very end, she gets her real Melina open jaw shark teeth thing at the very end. But before that, for the other 90% of the scenes she's in, she has like this weird like Joker makeup as her face instead of
just the blood extending up.
Yeah, it just totally reminded me of Heath Ledger's Joker from The Dark Knight.
Yeah, I mean, I could get what you're saying. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was just a kind of a cool take because because like in the end, when her full face opens up, it's because she's getting angry and she's about to die because she's going full force, right? I thought that was kind of cool, like that insinuated that the blood that you saw on her cheeks wasn't exactly her just being messy. It was her cheeks healing up because she rarely gets that angry and does that. Maybe. I'm not sure. Because when she does that in the movie, you can see her cheeks like kind of like tearing apart and doing it. So it makes you think that, because she's a superhuman or whatever, her flesh heals. I don't know. Doesn't really make sense, like on a biological standpoint, because what kind of creature would that be? But
Yeah.
nonetheless, on a like fictional standpoint and cinematography standpoint, it's pretty dope. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I was not a fan of Melina at all. I thought that she was one of the worst, not actresses, but worst portrayals of a character. Like the way that they decided to portray the character in the movie based off of the video game. I just thought that hers was the weakest, in my opinion.
Well, I know exactly why we got that portrayal of Melina, because one, Melina is traditionally a matte, like Jade in Melina and Katana are traditionally masked women. That ain't happening, for one. And secondly, all three of those characters I just mentioned are overly feminine.
Yeah.
But badass.
Yeah.
Which they don't want to do either. So I know why we got that take of Melina. That, and also I really wonder, like, it brings to light why they pick and choose what characters to be super traditional with, and then other characters just kind of be like completely different. And sometimes in a good way and a bad way, like Cabal being in a really good way. It was a new take on Cabal and it was completely dope. But then you got characters like Melina, which was just like, why couldn't we just get a more traditional Melina like we got with Raiden or Scorpion or Liu Kang, even though the actor himself was a mouse.
Yeah, he reminded me of Haku from Naruto. Like he was like a gender bender, sort of like if you put some makeup on Liu Kang in this movie, he probably could have passed in a dive bar. Like some drunk dude like, you look like a woman, I think. All right, let's go. It was bad, man.
Give him the flaming dragon in the parking lot.
Oh shit. One thing I will say, though, that the special moves in this movie were impeccable. Like everything from Shang Tsung's Soul Steel to Kano's Eye Beam, even the shitty ass Sonya Blade that we got, they gave her like little purple sparkle magic shit.
Yeah.
And it looked really good. Like it all looked great. Like all of the moves, the fatalities, all of like the meat and potatoes of what you want from Mortal Kombat was there. But we just had some really weird takes on certain characters and some bad acting, and it's unfortunate, man. It's like you have Mortal Kombat IP, you got all this money.
Yeah, I mean, taxation is theft.
I will say the fights in this movie, the fight scenes are the absolute highlight. And that is the way it should be in a Mortal Kombat movie. I'm glad that they didn't try and be like, we're Game of Thrones now. We're going to have deep, detailed plots where we do this, this, and this, and you have to understand what happened in minute 3 to understand what happened in minute 47. It's like, nah, we're just going to give you a shitload of really awesome fights with really good CG that looks really close to what you remember Mortal Kombat as a kid. I think that's the highest thing I could say about this movie. Is they did that right, which is the most important part.
Yeah. I think the movie could have been about a half an hour longer and without Cole and maybe some better actors, definitely some better choices. I'll say that. And this movie could have been just completely different with two actors that needed to be in the movie,
Yeah.
Absolutely needed to be in the movie. And getting rid of another character. And actually having a tournament. That was the other thing about this movie that really, in hindsight, makes you wonder, like, the pacing of how they're going to do number 2 and number 3, and if there's going to be a number 4 or whatever. Like, are they even going to do tournaments? Or are they just going to be these brawls on Earth and in the Netherrealm and stuff like that? Or are they actually going to have an MK tournament? Because now Shang Tsung's already breaking the rules. So Cabal are like a bunch of people already died, like that were introduced in MK2 and 3, and so it's just kind of weird. And even further, wasn't Atara introduced in like Deadly Alliance or Deception?
Definitely not in the original trilogy.
Well, yeah, definitely
that I
not in
can tell
the
you.
trilogy.
I don't remember exactly. She might have been MK4. I don't think she was, but it's possible she was.
General Rico was an MK4.
Yeah.
It's the only game he's in.
Yeah. Which is the way it should be.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he, like, of all the people to get murked early, he deserved it the most, for sure. So, the Johnny Cage absence mystery is explained in the final scene of this movie. So remember in the preview we were talking about, did Johnny Cage get Me Too'd out of Mortal Kombat? That was a topic we discussed. And it seemed like he did for a good portion of this movie, but at the very end, Cole Young is like, I'm going to Hollywood, and his like sensei is like, what? Hollywood? And he's like, yes, I must find a man of legendary status with Hollywood sunglasses, unlike any seen before. And then it shows like a little poster with Johnny Cage on it. And then basically they're setting up the sequel to this movie as being the Johnny Cage sequel. Mortal Kombat 2, The Search for Johnny Cage and his Hollywood sunglasses. What do you think about that, Broadcaster Nickels?
I am for it. They just need to get a good actor.
It is going to be crucial. They need to get that same energy they got from Kano in this movie into Johnny Cage in the second one.
Definitely. It's pivotal.
It is for sure.
Man, they just need to get better actors in general. I really hate to say that, but they just need, or these actors need to, the writers need to step up the dialogue. I don't know. They all need to bring more energy to the table. Like, because
yeah,
it felt like, I hate to say this because it's not that bad of a movie, but the energy I got from the MK characters in general was kind of like 2 steps above a Halloween great Halloween great characters, you know, like as just like you know, I just these they all seem like people cosplaying these characters, you know. I don't believe for one second any of these characters have actually lived a life they're talking about right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely true for Raiden and Shang Tsung and Sonya Blade, and Liu Kang. There's a lot of them. I believe you're right. Yeah, I feel like the hits that they got though kind of almost make up for it in the fact that you can see that they do know what's good. Like think about the amount of screen time they gave Kano in this movie. Kano is a good character. I like him, but he's not exactly like a main character type character. They gave him a shit ton of dialogue in this movie. They knew what they had with Kano, and they let him go. He has probably the second most dialogue in the movie behind Cole Young.
And then they killed him.
They did kill him, and that's sad. But if we get Johnny Cage with that same energy, I think it's all right. Because Kano should kind of die. Kano, maybe this is a hot take, but Kano is a red shirt. He should die in the first movie. I agree with that decision. Now, Cabal dying in the first movie, hell no. Kano, I'm okay with. Melina, not okay with either. I think that Melina dying, not good. General Fuckhead, thank you. I wish you could have done it I wish you could have clapped on that dude sooner, Jax.
Guy who, he kind of... Oh, well, first of all, he was the fucking giant retard from the new Mad Max.
He was?
Yeah. He's like the one that was like, my baby brother.
That is too funny. I did not realize that.
But honestly, I was just about to say, I was like, he reminds me of like a baddie from like Waterworld or like Mad Max or something, dude. He's just like, I'll go kill good guy. Bye.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Broadcaster Nickels. As you know, we have a segment on this very podcast called The Hit, the Miss, and the Whiff. In this nonsensical hit of a miss that also has a whiff, what do you rate the hit of Mortal Kombat 2021?
The hit. What was the hit? I mean, it could say Kano. That's the obvious answer.
I think there are a few hits in this. I actually had trouble coming up with my hit. I mean, not a lot of trouble, but like I actually thought about it for a bit. Because I'm like, there are a few things you could legitimately say. This was not a bad movie.
I would say the powers and the fatalities are probably the hit.
The fan service.
The fans. Yeah, that might be the answer. Yeah, the fan service. Like, just they got that right. Well, what they gave you was good. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
they wouldn't. I mean, it's not all there, but what you got was really exceptional.
Yes, it was. Well, Broadcaster Nickels, my hit is the one and only Cabal. That's right. Your second favorite burn victim after Freddy Krueger was given the utmost respect in this movie. Out of left field. Like this. I love Cabal, but no one else does. Cabal is a fringe character. Like, he is not like a main character that you would think of when coming up with a Mortal Kombat movie. So for him to be in this movie at all sent chills through my spine. I'm just like, what? Cabal's in this? Really? Okay, I'm psyched now. Then we get to it, and what an amazing portrayal. Like you said, it's different. It's not the MK3 Cabal. It's not the, what was the other one he was in? MK9? I think it was MK9. It was not like the typical Cabal portrayal. It was actually a little better. They combined sort of his look with Sector and Cyrax. Like those they have like this like weird like robotic stormtrooper look, and they kind of combined that with Cabal to like astonishing effect. It was amazing. The red eyes, like but you know what they kept perfect? The fucking weapons. They didn't touch the weapons, man. They're like, we know what makes Cabal, and it's his fucking weapons. It was great. It was great, and I did not expect it. That is what made me love this movie so much, is because they took my favorite character that no one in the world would expect to show up in a rebooted Mortal Kombat movie in 2021. We're just going to pluck Cabal out of MK3, give him the most love, give him great dialogue, and let him go down like a motherfucking gangster to Liu Kang in his ultimate fire dragon fatality. I loved it. I just could not believe how awesome Cabal was in this movie. And that, for me, is the hit. That being said, Broadcaster Nickels, for every hit, there is an equal miss. What is your miss?
Man, Reptile's death.
Man, we didn't talk about Reptile a lot. We totally
Yeah,
didn't
well,
talk
I
about him.
actually called him an alien at the beginning, the monster at the beginning, but it's because he was kind of written off as that. It was kind of dumb. It was like, I mean, I saw that they were trying to do a shout out to the original way he was portrayed in the original Mortal Kombat movie,
Mhm.
but that was one of the worst parts of that movie.
Yeah,
You know,
the
so
CG for that. By the way,
Yeah.
just a quick aside on before you go on. The CG in the original Mortal Kombat movie for Reptile was horrifically bad for the time. Not now, but for the time. It was so bad.
It reminded me of video game FMVs at the time. Like, I was like, "What am I watching right now?" You can't really tell exactly the object from the background because of the weird color palette and the fact that there's no hard lines.
I'll give him an A for effort, but goddamn, dude, kill it with fire.
But yeah, dude, it was. Reptile just be getting just no respect. Like, what's going on, dude? I was really hoping at the start of this movie we were gonna see a green ninja. You know, like no, we've yet to see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and they had a really good opportunity, which I will talk about a little bit later.
Ooh, that's an interesting prelude. Yeah, it's funny. Like, that really highlights my hit with Cabal because Reptile is a much more popular character.
Yeah,
and he got treated like dog shit.
It just makes him some shitty clone fucking alien or cloaked alien. He gets his heart ripped out by a fucking redheaded Australian.
Oh my god. Yeah. Well, Broadcaster Nickels, my miss is one Mr. Cole Young, the new character that should have been aborted early term. All right. Listen, dude, this character was a dud. He was the most boring. He was the most wooden, the most pointless. His best scene was just to set up Scorpion showing up to kill Sub-Zero. Like, literally, his best part of the movie was actually not for him, and it was just to set up good old dad. And wow, letting him kill Goro is a black stain on this movie. It is a black stain. He had no personality. He had the most generic powers. He, like you said, he had like Striker's weapons, but like actual blades instead of a
Aquaman's
baton.
Armor.
Oh god. Oh my god, it does look like Aquaman's armor. God damn it! Why'd you have to?
Half
that makes
of
it
it
even
at
worse,
least.
dude. Dude, literally the coolest thing about Cole Young is that Scorpion is his dad.
Not his dad. It's just like he's a descendant.
All right,
So
whatever.
like,
Okay, his grandpappy. I don't care.
His like great grandma is Scorpion's daughter.
I don't care. He sucks. He is my miss.
He
That being
sucks.
said, Broadcaster Nickels, what is your whiff?
So this ties into Reptile's death that I said from the miss. But the whiff is, dude, Jax, man.
Ooh.
Fucking Jax putting the clap on General Ryko on the bridge. So the bridge, right, for one, that guy should have got uppercutted off the bridge into the pit, and then he should have unlocked. He should have done it right, and then the fucking moon, right?
Yep.
They could have done a shout out to the moon glitch where Reptile shows up, and then we got the green Reptile.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it would have been way cooler.
Yeah,
Way cool.
I will say that this is probably your best whiff of all time on this podcast. Like, in terms of my judgment on your whiff choices, this is probably your most astute, observational whiff of all time, because I 150% agree with you on this. I remember watching this scene just being like, oh fuck, they're on the bridge. This is the spike pit. Wait a second, Reptile died earlier. They could bring this all and fix everything. It's like, and yeah, we
just
get
a throwaway fatality on an iconic fucking level that they just breeze right by.
And imagine what they could have done, like CG wise, with that fatality, with the uppercut, with him flying up in the air, then like the camera kind of panning out and then showing him fall down into the spike. Like they could have done it so awesome.
Think about the little music soundbite that plays when Reptile shows up. Doom. Like, he just like, I mean, it's so dope.
Oh man, that is a legendary whiff that you picked out.
And they also could have took that opportunity to get a fucking Boone fucking whoopsie, you know, up in there.
That's a good point. I'm surprised they didn't work a whoopsie in there. Well, my whiff, actually, I don't think it's as good as yours, but I'm going to say it anyway. No Striker cameo. How dare you? That is some Bush League shit. You bring Cabal in here without his New York police officer counterpart.
Oh yeah, they were partners.
Yes, dude. Striker. I forgot. Like you bring Cabal in and you just show him so much love. You just give him so much screen time, so much dialogue. I would say Cabal.
But you know what they didn't give him? A cop background.
No, they did it
on purpose.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. So not bringing Stryker in when you bring Cabal in and you show him so much respect, to me is just a perfect sign of the times, as you just eloquently mentioned. They did not want any police officer vibes associated to this movie.
His whole aesthetic was being a SWAT member with clubs that he beat people down with. I think it's a little on the nose right now.
Yeah. Well,
didn't he have a sidearm for too?
He did. And I'm pretty sure that he had a fatality that might have triggered a few people today. I'm not even going to say what the fatality is, for I fear I may be canceled for even mentioning it, but I believe...
Bring Stryker back.
Make Stryker great again. Are you kidding me? How the fuck do you not bring Stryker into this movie? Quick honorable mention.
We went through many reasons why he did.
Quick honorable mention, though, is Sonya's acting.
She was good. And she was also very hot, and she also gave me some what's her name? Who's
Jerry
the chick
Ryan.
Is that the chick from Wild Things?
Oh, no. Wait. You're talking about Denise Richards?
Yeah, she kind of gave me like a little bit. I mean, she's obviously not as hot as Denise Richards was.
Oh, Denise Richards in her prime wasn't a legend.
Yeah, let's be real here. God. Yeah, she was dialed up, but she kind of gave me like the, you know, maybe younger, less attractive sister vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, like in Cinderella. Yeah, she's like the stepsister version.
Yeah, that I'd probably end up getting caught banging later on, like after like the 7th year of the marriage, you know, and we're like apart, you know, or whatever. And she's like, I can't believe you'd step down to my sister. And I'd be like, whatever, you don't suck my dick.
Broadcaster Nickels, as you know, here on the Crack Cellar Podcast, we have an official, patented Nick Cage rating system that we rate everything with. On that system, Broadcaster Nickels, what do you rate Mortal Kombat? Ooh, some consternation.
I'm gonna give it a B. I'm gonna give it a rock.
Ooh,
yeah,
rock. Is it at least a strong rock? Is it the blue stuff?
It's a sweaty Nick Cage trying to jam some nuclear ordnance back into its proper containment.
Damn. Well, Broadcaster Nickels, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. I'm going to give this a solid Con Air.
What?
That's right. Because
burn the scale down. It's over.
It's not over. Because the respect that this movie showed Cabal outweighs.
Oh my God. This is a bias grade asterisk on the scorecard.
Listen to me right now. The respect that they showed Cabal in this movie outweighs the horrible, horrible acting and portrayal of Shang Tsung. The horrible acting and portrayal of Raiden. It outshines the dumb death of Goro. It's like this North Star, Broadcaster Nickels. As long as you see the light of the North Star, you know you're going the right direction. And that is what the respect to Cabal in this movie brought to the Mortal Kombat audience. You can look at that star and say, you know what? The night is dark and full of terrors, but as long as I follow that light, someday I will see the ancient warlock version of Shang Tsung portrayed by Kerry Tagawa.
That's interesting. Interesting. Well, I think Cabal was a Mossad agent himself.
And with that, we'll close out. Oopsie.